every week, courtesy of our friends at the DQs of Northwest Edmonton and Sherwood Park. That's Palisades, Namao, Newcastle, Westmount, and Baseline Road. We solicit your hottest takes. That's right. We know that you're all fired up by what you see around you. And here it is. It's the Flamethrower, presented by the DQs of Northwest Edmonton and Sherwood Park. Jenny writes in and says, hey, team, and by the way, none of this is good for kids. Friends, just right now, anybody sensitive, we're about to get into one. I'm not censoring anything here. Jenny says, this treasonous, hateful Trump bootlicker of an Alberta premier is a clear danger to Canadians, and especially Albertans. And Albertans especially need to know how their elected provincial leadership is representing us globally. That is shittily. From Jenny. Okay. I hope you feel better, Jenny. It was in all caps. How about this one from Ron, who says, as a proud Albertan, I'm very concerned that our premier is laying the groundwork to bring us into the fold of Americans against our will. I'm a proud Albertan, yes, says Ron, but I'm a Canadian first. And I'm even more concerned that this is majority opinion in the rural parts of the province. Ron says, please fact check me. Please tell me I'm overreacting. I don't want to believe this. I don't want it to happen. That from Ron. What about this one from Nathan, who says, after hearing the audio that's been circulating, this Breitbart interview that Danielle Smith with correspondent Matthew Boyle, it's clear she would sell Alberta out to the U.S. in a second. In the audio, she admits to asking the U.S. to pause its tariff policies toward Canada to help the federal Conservatives achieve power, since they better align with the new United States. That's absolutely heinous, says Nathan, given the fact that that orange geriatric ward escapee has made it pretty clear he wants to annex our entire country. And it's just as heinous to demand that whoever wins the the April 28th election has 6 months to deal with her demands or risk a national unity crisis. If that's not a brazen attempt to threaten Alberta separation, I don't know what it is. Nathan says she's a traitor, and she's been laying the groundwork for this since she passed the Alberta Sovereignty Act, which one of the main architects of the bill, Barry Cooper, who has 10-ply admitted it's definitely unconstitutional. Of course the bill was rammed through the legislature to the applause of the Alberta separatist premier. If my province wants to be American so damn bad and the premier leads the charge, she should take the advice that I've offered to the rest of the Maple MAGA spare part traders in Alberta. Fucking emigrate to the U.S., you donkeys, and renounce your Canadian citizenship because we don't want you here. Do us a favor and take your reject Karate Kid villain, Pierre Poilievre, with you, because anybody who has an endorsement from Elon Musk and had to cry to that diaper-wearing orange Mussolini to the south to say he'd prefer a liberal government, even though he endorsed Poilievre in January, sure as shit shouldn't be running the country. As far as I'm concerned, says Nathan, a penny has more value in Canada than either of these politicians. Elbows up! That from Nathan. How about this one from Michael, who says, Jespo, this is very Canadian, Johnny. Jespo, I'd like to start by saying that I really like your show. Thank you, Michael. He says you bring on all different perspectives on a variety of topics, but I gotta call out some real talkers. Why are folks not invoking critical thinking? Michael says, I try to look at politics and policies through the lens of, I don't know, if something that orange Oompa Loompa down south says, but I wouldn't like it. I wouldn't like it if Kamala or Bernie or AOC said it, then I'm not looking at it objectively. He says, like what Danielle Smith said with her list of demands for the current PM, Mark Carney, to do to satisfy Alberta. But if Nenshi said it, people would be calling him a separatist. Give your heads a shake, everybody. You're too full-on Kool-Aid from your own specific parties. He says the debacle down south with the group chat on Signal, the bombing in Yemen, people on Team Trump pulling every muscle in their body, trying to stretch the justification for smearing a reporter who was erroneously added to the chat. It's mind-boggling. He says, and just I see it in your live chat when I watch the show. Obvious bias, says Michael. Folks, take a minute to think. Would I act this way if the other team did the exact same thing? Discourse would be a lot more palatable if that were the case. And then in true Canadian fashion, Michael signs off. Thank you, everybody, for your time. Thank you, Michael, very much. And how about this one from Brian, who has a question for the leavers. The leavers, those that would leave. Brian says, a quick question for the folks who want to join the United States. What do you think is actually going to happen? Notwithstanding the points you brought up about economy, policing, and the environmental repercussions, Ryan, how do they see themselves actually fitting into this brave new world? I mean, Alberta would be America now, right? And Americans put Americans first. They don't give a shit about us, except insofar as they could exploit and manipulate us. Just listen to how the likes of Ben Shapiro talk about Canada and right to Danielle Smith's face. Do they think that we'll be put in charge of everything? The Americans will want the best jobs, the best everything. If there's a big flood of people coming up here, they would most definitely be given priority over us. Or to put it in business terms, Brian says, how does the company that gets bought out do? Never well, he says. At best, I can see us getting low-level, low-paying jobs with lower health coverage. So just one question. Why? For what? If you think you have no voice or representation now, just wait till the Americans show up and tell you you're not needed anymore. You'll become sycophantic, third-rate peons in a fourth-rate open pit backwater. That from Brian, who signs off, a concerned citizen of Alberta, Canada. Wow! These are all real emails to talk@ryanjesperson.com. The Flamethrower is proudly presented by the DQs in Palisades, Namao, Newcastle, Westmount, and Baseline Road. When you hit them up, when you visit to pick up one of those Flamethrower signature stack burgers, make sure you let them know Real Talk sent ya. Have an incredible weekend. Enjoy the time with your family, your friends. Stay off social media, and then meet us right back here on Monday. Cheers, everybody.